Part 1, The Encounter in the Shadows. The heat of Proxima Centauri. The twin suns of Proxima Centauri blazed mercilessly over New Haven Colony, their scorching rays casting long shadows across the dusty streets. Anthony Lev, a former human marine, moved through the market district with purpose. His bare torso, glistening with sweat, drew curious glances from various alien species, but he paid them no mind. His focus was on finding parts for his ship's navigation system. A cry for help. As he turned down a narrow alley, his sharp instincts caught the sound of muffled struggle and cruel laughter. Anthony's jaw tightened as he followed the noise. What he saw made his blood boil. 3 Drade thugs, reptilian humanoids with scales the color of dried blood, had cornered a Lumine woman. Her alabaster skin glowed faintly in the shadows, and her platinum hair had come loose from its elegant updo. The fight for justice. Without hesitation, Anthony stepped forward. "Hey, scale faces," he called, his deep voice echoing off the metal walls. "Why don't you pick on someone your own size?" The Drade leader hissed, charging at Anthony with clawed hands. But Anthony's combat training kicked in. He sidestepped, grabbed the alien's arm, and slammed him into the wall. The other 2 thugs attacked, but Anthony's precise strikes left them staggering. A hero's sacrifice. Just as Anthony thought the fight was over, the Drade leader pulled out a neural disruptor. A crackling beam of energy struck Anthony in the back, sending searing pain through his nervous system. He crumpled to the ground, his legs going numb. The Lumine woman, showing unexpected courage, grabbed the disruptor and fired it at the Drade leader, knocking him out. A new connection. "Are you all right?" she asked, her violet eyes wide with concern. Anthony managed a weak grin. "Can't feel my legs, but I'll live." She introduced herself as Varana and insisted on helping him. As she guided him to her apartment in a sleek hover chair, Anthony felt an unexpected connection with this alien woman. The beginning of something new. Varana's apartment was a sanctuary of warmth and light, filled with exotic plants and soothing fragrances. She helped Anthony into the guest room, her touch gentle but sure. "Rest," she said. "I'll take care of you." As Anthony lay there, he couldn't shake the feeling that this encounter was the start of something extraordinary. Part 2, The Spark of Curiosity. A family's arrival. Varana's apartment, usually a haven of tranquility, was soon filled with tension as her family arrived unexpectedly. Her father, Kordak Satril, a high-ranking member of the Lumine High Council, entered with an air of authority. His crystalline skin shimmered under the apartment's ambient lighting, and his piercing violet eyes immediately locked onto Anthony, who was still confined to the hover chair. Kordax's disapproval. "Daughter," Kordax began, his voice cold and measured, "we were concerned when you missed our weekly communication. And now we find you cohabitating with a human." The word dripped with disdain. Varana straightened her spine, her platinum hair catching the light as she faced her father. "Anthony saved my life, father. He was injured defending me from Drade attackers." Theon's curiosity. Varana's brother, Theon, stepped forward. Unlike his father, Theon's expression was one of fascination rather than judgment. He studied Anthony with the keen interest of a scientist. "A neural disruptor, you say?" Theon asked, pulling up a holographic display from his wrist device. "Fascinating. The damage pattern suggests something unusual. A hidden agenda." As Theon analyzed the data, Kordax continued to voice his disapproval. "This is highly irregular, Varana. A human, and a paralyzed one at that, is not a suitable companion for a Lumine of your standing." Varana's mother, Lyra, placed a calming hand on her husband's arm. "Perhaps we should hear the full story before passing judgment," she suggested gently. Theon's revelation. Theon's eyes lit up as he discovered something in the neural scans. "This wasn't a random attack," he announced. The neural disruptor was modified, specifically calibrated to cause lasting damage to human physiology. Someone wanted to ensure Anthony would never walk again. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. A dangerous game. Varana's eyes narrowed. If this was deliberate, then Anthony was targeted. But why? Theon glanced at his father, then back at Varana. Our family has many political rivals. Perhaps they saw an opportunity to compromise you through him. Anthony, who had been quietly observing the exchange, finally spoke up. So, I'm a pawn in some galactic power game? Kordax's reluctant respect. Kordax's stern expression softened slightly. It appears you've been caught in a web of political intrigue, human. But that doesn't change the fact that your presence here is problematic. Varana stepped forward, her voice firm. Anthony risked his life for me. He's not just some human, he's brave, kind, and I care about him. Theon's offer. Theon, ever the pragmatist, saw an opportunity. Father, if this attack was politically motivated, then helping Anthony recover could be a strategic move. It would show that our family values courage and loyalty, regardless of species. Kordax considered this, his crystalline features reflecting the light as he weighed the options. A tentative alliance. After a tense silence, Kordax nodded. Very well. Theon, you may proceed with the treatment. But know this, human, he said, turning to Anthony, your presence here will be closely monitored. Any misstep, and you will be removed. Anthony met Kordax's gaze with calm determination. Understood. But I'm not going anywhere. Varana's resolve. As her family prepared to leave, Varana pulled Theon aside. Thank you, she whispered. I know convincing father wasn't easy. Theon smiled mischievously. Don't thank me yet. The procedure is risky, and the High Council's Ethics Committee will have questions. But if anyone can pull this off, it's me. A glimpse of hope. That evening, as Anthony and Varana sat together in the living area, the weight of the day's events hung in the air. Your family is intense, Anthony remarked, earning a soft laugh from Varana. They care about tradition and appearances. But Theon's on our side, and that's what matters. The calm before the storm. As they prepared for the procedure the next day, Anthony couldn't shake the feeling that their lives were about to change forever. Varana, sensing his unease, took his hand. Whatever happens, we'll face it together, she said, her violet eyes filled with determination. Anthony nodded, his resolve strengthening. Together. The Horizon's medical bay had become a sanctuary of discovery. 3 weeks into their neural integration study, Nash and Lyria's breakthrough was causing ripples throughout both their civilizations. The commander's enhanced neural patterns had stabilized into something entirely new, a perfect fusion of human adaptability and Etherian biotechnology. The implications are staggering, First Director Theron announced via holographic conference. The Etherian leader's crystalline features reflected his excitement despite the formal setting. This could revolutionize neural medicine across known space. Nash stood at attention during the briefing, though his enhanced senses were hyper-aware of Lyria's presence beside him. Their neural connection had grown stronger daily, creating a bond that defied conventional understanding. We've documented increased sensory awareness, Lyria reported, her professional tone belying the personal nature of their discoveries. Commander Nash can now perceive energy fields, process information at accelerated rates, and interface directly with Etherian technology. And the emotional resonance? Theron's question carried weighted implications. Lyria's skin pulsed with subtle patterns that only Nash could now fully interpret: embarrassment, pride, and something deeper. The empathic connection is stable and controlled. We've found it actually enhances the integration process. Fascinating, Admiral Blackstone of the Terran fleet interjected, his hologram flickering with interest. And there have been no adverse effects? None, Nash confirmed, carefully omitting how the emotional resonance had evolved into something far more intimate than either of them had anticipated. Their shared consciousness during their daily monitoring sessions had created a connection that transcended physical boundaries. After the briefing, they retreated to the private research lab they'd set up adjacent to Nash's quarters. The moment the door closed, both relaxed, letting their carefully maintained professional facades drop. They have no idea, do they? Nash mused, settling into the monitoring chair. What this really feels like. Lyria's fingers found their familiar position near his implant, initiating their neural link. Both gasped softly as their consciousness merged, sharing thoughts, sensations, and emotions with impossible clarity. How could they understand, she replied, her silver eyes meeting his. This connection, it's unprecedented. The way we can share not just thoughts but entire experiences. Their linked consciousness rippled with shared memory, their first successful neural sync, the moment they discovered they could share sensory experiences, the first time their emotional resonance created feedback loops of shared feeling that left them both breathless. The medical implications alone are revolutionary, Lyria continued, trying to maintain scientific focus despite their intimate connection. Your neural pathways have completely reorganized to accommodate Etherian patterns while maintaining human flexibility. It's beautiful. Through their link, Nash could feel her genuine awe at the intricate dance of neurons and energy, human determination meeting Etherian elegance in perfect harmony. But beneath the scientific wonder lay deeper currents of emotion that neither could ignore. Lyria, he said softly, we need to discuss what happened yesterday. Her skin flushed with bioluminescent patterns that matched her emotional surge. During their last session, their neural sync had reached new depths, sharing not just current experiences but memories, dreams, desires. The intensity had overwhelmed them both. It wasn't supposed to be like this, she whispered, though their connection thrummed with the knowledge that perhaps it was always meant to be exactly this way. The emotional resonance was supposed to be controllable, clinical. When has anything about this been clinical? Nash reached up, his fingers brushing her iridescent skin. The contact sent cascades of shared sensation through their neural link. We're rewriting everything we thought we knew about neural science, about connection between species. Their consciousness merged deeper, sharing thoughts without words. They both knew they'd crossed lines that their respective civilizations might not understand. The connection between them had grown far beyond scientific curiosity into something profound and irreversible. A sudden alert from the lab's monitoring system broke their reverie. The holographic display showed something extraordinary. Their merged neural patterns had created entirely new configurations, pathways that existed neither in human nor Etherian physiology. This is. Lyria's scientific enthusiasm broke through their emotional moment. Nash, look at these patterns. They're self-sustaining, adaptive. Your human flexibility combined with our crystalline stability has created something entirely new. Something beautiful, he added, sharing through their link how he perceived the elegant dance of energy and consciousness between them. Lyria's response came both verbally and through their connection, layers of meaning impossible to convey through words alone. Yes, beautiful. And terrifying. Nash, what we've discovered here, it's going to change everything. The weight of their discovery settled around them. They had moved far beyond simple neural integration into uncharted territory, a new form of consciousness that combined the best of both their species. The implications were staggering, both scientifically and personally. Through their link, they shared the unspoken question. How would their worlds react to not just the scientific breakthrough, but to what had developed between them? The answer lay somewhere in the complex dance of neurons and emotions that bound them together, in the space between science and something far more profound. Whatever comes next, Nash said, their connection carrying the full weight of his conviction, we face it together. Lyria's response flowed through their link, absolute agreement, mixed with emotions that transcended the boundaries of both their languages. They had discovered something revolutionary, but the true breakthrough wasn't in the neural patterns on their screens. It was in the space between heartbeats, in the merger of minds and souls that no scientific paper could ever fully explain. The Horizon's diplomatic chamber crackled with tension as representatives from both civilizations gathered to discuss the implications of Nash and Lyria's breakthrough. High Counselor Varix of the Etherian Science Directory stood rigidly, his crystalline features set in disapproval. This level of neural integration between species is unprecedented and unauthorized, he declared, silver eyes fixed accusingly on Lyria. Dr. Voss, you've exceeded your research parameters significantly. Nash felt Lyria's anxiety through their connection, though she maintained perfect composure. Their neural link, now permanent, thrummed with shared emotion beneath their professional exteriors. With respect, Counselor, Lyria responded, the integration occurred naturally. Commander Nash's unique neural adaptability combined with our biotechnology in ways we couldn't have predicted. Admiral Blackstone, representing the Terran fleet, leaned forward. The military applications alone are extraordinary. Enhanced neural processing, direct interface with advanced technology, improved sensory awareness. This isn't about military advantage, Nash interjected, feeling Lyria's approval through their link. What we've discovered could revolutionize medical treatment, interspecies communication, even space exploration. Varix's skin pulsed with patterns that reflected his skepticism. And the emotional resonance? The unprecedented level of consciousness sharing between you and Dr. Voss. Are we to ignore the obvious ethical concerns? The neural link between Nash and Lyria flared with shared indignation, but before either could respond, Dr. Raven Blackwood stepped forward, research data streaming across the holographic display. The emotional component is integral to the integration success, she explained. Our studies show the neural pattern stabilized through emotional resonance. Without it, the entire system would collapse. Convenient, Varix remarked coldly. And now we're expected to believe that this, attachment, is merely a scientific necessity? Nash felt Lyria's pain at her superior's implication, but also her unwavering certainty about their connection. Through their link, they shared a moment of perfect understanding, neither would apologize for what had developed between them. The attachment, as you call it, Nash stated firmly, is both a scientific breakthrough and something more profound. We've discovered that consciousness itself transcends species boundaries. A dangerous premise, Varix warned. The Council cannot endorse uncontrolled experiments in cross-species consciousness integration. Dr. Voss, you will return to Etheria immediately for evaluation. Commander Nash will undergo neural separation procedures. The threat of separation sent a shock of fear through their shared consciousness. They both knew that attempting to sever their neural connection now would be catastrophic, their minds had become too intricately linked. That's not possible, Lyria declared, her professional demeanor cracking slightly. Our neural patterns have fully merged. Any attempt to separate them would cause severe trauma to both of us. Admiral Blackstone frowned. Is this true, Dr. Blackwood? Raven nodded, bringing up new scans. Their neural integration has created entirely new pathways. Attempting to separate them now would be like trying to unscramble an egg. The risk of permanent damage is unacceptable. Then we have a serious problem, Varix stated. The Etherian Council cannot allow uncontrolled human access to our neural technology. The risks are too great. Through their link, Nash and Lyria shared rapid thoughts, forming a plan together in the seamless way their merged consciousness allowed. Nash stepped forward, his enhanced senses reading the subtle energy patterns in the room. What if we could prove that this integration benefits both our species, he proposed. A controlled demonstration of its potential? Lyria caught his intention through their connection and continued seamlessly, we've barely scratched the surface of what's possible. The combined strength of human adaptability and Etherian neural technology could open doors we've never imagined. A demonstration? Varix's skepticism remained evident. What exactly are you proposing? Nash and Lyria shared a quick glance, their neural link humming with shared purpose. The Proxima anomaly, they said in unison, drawing surprised looks from the assembled officials. The spacetime distortion that's been disrupting shipping lanes? Admiral Blackstone asked. What about it? Our merged consciousness allows us to process and interpret energy patterns in entirely new ways, Lyria explained. We believe we can interface with the anomaly, possibly even stabilize it. Using both human intuitive problem-solving and Etherian neural technology, Nash added. Something neither of our species could accomplish alone. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Finally, Admiral Blackstone spoke. If you could stabilize the Proxima anomaly, it would save countless lives and billions in resources. And demonstrate the genuine value of our neural integration, Lyria concluded. All we ask is the chance to prove it. Varix and Blackstone exchanged long looks before the Etherian counselor finally nodded. You have one standard week to show results. After that, if we're not satisfied. He left the threat hanging. As the officials filed out to discuss details, Nash and Lyria remained connected through their link, sharing both determination and concern. They had bought themselves time, but now they faced an even greater challenge. We can do this, Lyria whispered, both aloud and through their connection. Together. Nash's response flowed through their neural link, complete confidence mixed with something deeper, something that made Lyria's skin pulse with bioluminescent patterns of joy. They had 7 days to save not just their connection, but to prove that the future lay in unity rather than separation. The universe, it seemed, had a way of testing the strongest bonds.